Do you think our campus is diverse?
I think the campus is really diverse. We have many students from around the world coming here.
Not really a lot. It's diverse to a certain point, but still there's not a real difference in the ethnicity of people. Like, there's not enough of certain type of racial groups that I would qualify as a very diverse campus.
No, I don't think so. I feel like we have a few different types of like races.
I feel like sort of, not like insanely diverse, but there's a little bit of variation.
Be more diverse, but it's still pretty diverse.
Now Trump is president, it's real diverse.
Really, it's like majority is white, and then everything else is kind of blended equally as the minority, so, but no, I don't think there's a lot of diversity.
I think the university's not really as diverse.
It is pretty much like all around. Like I see a lot of different races.
I work in the leadership program, and we've been very conscious about, particularly with the Dean's Future Scholars, to increase the diversity. Is it sufficiently diverse? No.
Very diverse campus student-wise, population. As far as faculty, we could use some improvement, some extreme improvement.
Yeah, I see a lot of different people, different gender identities and skin color and stuff, so I would say yeah.
Do you think racism still exists?
Obviously it does, otherwise we wouldn't have all of these protests and people who end up getting killed by police when they didn't have any weapons on them.
Yes. Yes.
Of course. I believe racism definitely still exists in many different forms, from systematic oppression to stereotypes.
Is water wet? Yes, I do.
Hell yeah, it does.
Yes, I do. More low key.
I think it does, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just in some areas more than others. So.
Racism is more of a, in my opinion, I think it's more of a subconscious thing, but at this point there's still a lot of very conscious actions.
Yes, no doubt. There's no question in that.
Yes, and it depends in exactly what context that you're using it in. A lot of people have the misconception that, or at least in minorities, oh, I didn't get the position because of my race. When in actuality, if you're applying for a position, at least in the job field, there's like prerequisites and, you know.
Not recently, because I think I put myself in positions to like not get discriminated against, but
Yeah, like in different situations, cause like I'm black and Mexican, so like it's kind of like two different aspects of it. But growing up more so than now, just like growing up and like just little kids saying stuff, but that's pretty much about it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I sit in classes in which, you know, I get looked at differently because of my race, so I stand out. Extremely, you know, I stand out in the adjustment during my classes, and it's not because all the kids are racist, and they look at me and they're just like, oh, he doesn't belong in these classes, so something's wrong, you know.
Yes.
No.
Well, there's been a couple times in my life that I've been discriminated against, but most recently, you know, it's just like little things like the way people talk to you and how they act around you, and you can just know like they're treating you differently from other people. Like the language and the body language they show towards you, you can just tell how differently they treat you.
I have, yeah.
Here, I would have here.
Yes, many times, and it hurts.
No, I actually haven't. Just the incidents with racism.
So my freshman year of college, a group of students, black students, we were going to a party, and we got up to the door, and they wouldn't let us in. So as we were, one of the students that was in the group, he's a little bit older and he had been on campus a little bit before. It's my freshman year. So he was trying to talk to them. He was like, you know, why can't we get in the party or whatever? So in the background, some guy was like, oh, no, we're at capacity. So we all were like, okay, let's go do something else. So we're walking away from the door at the party, and this car is like zooming by. And when they get to us, they kind of slow down a little bit and they yell, go back to Africa. And then, and then they just take off.
Yeah, I mean, like it was a lot when I was growing up, and I didn't know I was being discriminated against until like later when I was older. You know, it was just when you're a kid, you don't really understand that it's because of your race, and it is until you're older and that it is explained to you like, wait a second, that happened to me, and it's because I am not white.
When you're with your group of friends, what is the topic of conversation about race?
On topic of conversation on race, I tend to just like blatantly like express my opinion. I don't really care if I make people feel uncomfortable because that is going to expose them to a new way of thinking, I think.
If it's something going on around the country, we'll talk about that, or just about how things are looked at differently. Like, for example, recently something happened in Paris, and then recently something happened in Nigeria, but it's more publicity about what happened in Paris.
Nowadays, probably just talking about like the different like police action, like police brutality, like in most recent times, and just the different situations of how like kind of how the police haven't been held to their standard when basically they've been beating on or killing different kids from different races.
A lot of times when we talk about race, like me and my friends are, you know, I live with two dancers, and so like, you know, we watch like tons of music videos and stuff like that, and a lot of times we'll be watching like, like Anaconda, like the Nicki Minaj music video, like out of that whole video it's like all African Americans and like one white girl, and like the whole time we're just like, oh my gosh, like look at that white girl, like she's getting it and stuff like
I guess it just depends if I'm in white space or black space. Like right now, any topic of race is gonna be just about the black community. About the things that we have to go through, shared experiences, shared living experiences. But I guess in white space it's definitely a different topic. It's not really brought up much. I guess that's kind of the thing we're dealing with now. A lot of people don't believe that we still see race, but it is a real topic, it's a real conversation. And so I think that's probably where the problem lies. We don't talk about race in white space bars.
What kind of place would the world be if there was no racism?
It'd be a better place. It'd be a happier place. That's a type of utopian type of society, which I don't believe would ever exist. So, with that being said, I don't think. Oh my bad. I don't think with that utopianistic mentality that would even be considered, to say the least.
I think it would be a great world if there was no racism. It'd definitely be a lot more fun, I guess, because we'd all be getting to know each other's culture and accepting it and maybe even experiencing their culture with them. And then that's always fun to just dive into a new culture. So if we didn't have that race, and like everyone would definitely be open to trying new things.
Yeah, and I think overall there'll be less judgment. You really wouldn't be judging people based on their color of their skin or their background. You would really be judging the person by who they truly are.
I think that there would be more friendships.
I don't know what kind of world it would be, because we've always had racism, and we kind of, as humans, we just look at people and say, those are that kind of race, that's kind of race. And I think it's just how we kind of divide people up and categorize people. So I don't know if we'll have ever have a time period where racism didn't exist.
I mean, right now, as society as it is, people who are still saying, oh, I'm colorblind, I don't see race. It's pretty obvious we're still far off.
That is a crazy question, and I think if people have a response to that, that's amazing. But like me, as of right now, what would the world like without racism? I have no idea.
And name one way to stop racism.
Name one way to stop racism? I think it would be to have some more direct dialogue about it. Just dialogue for the sake of dialogue it's not a waste of time.
Like the biggest way is just like fixing racism like in yourself. Like if you yourself are racist, I feel like it's more of like a personal problem.
You stop racism by having conversations that could be potentially contentious, but you don't shy away from them. You address issues that need to be addressed.
I'm thinking space travel.
Educating people.